Max Verstappen, for me, is clocked out. I think mentally he's just done with the season already.
Poor chap has been complaining like a small kid for I don't know how long.
Will Oscar Piastri actually start this race?
This is Shift Break with Alex and Nick. Hope everybody's doing fine. After almost 25 days without F1, we are finally back with another episode. But not to say less of scandals, There was so much happening in this 25 days. New team principles, maybe new rules and regulations, some changes over there. Alex, how you doing, man? Excited for Japan?
Yeah, man. Beautiful day today. Itching for Suzuka. Can't wait.
Yeah, Suzuka has always delivered some great bangers, from previous ones. And now that it is coming with a change in all the regulations which has happened, I want to see how Suzuka delivers again. Is it going to be a bummer? Is it going to be fake racings? Is it going to be Mario Kart? I don't know what. But I'm excited to see what it is. And I want to see there have been some implications in past 25 days in how it affects the current GP. FIA is now investigating a lot of things which there have been so many complaints with different manufacturers, especially Ferrari. Ferrari went to FIA with a lot of complaints, and one of the major complaints was about the compression ratio, which even Red Bull had gone with to FIA about what Mercedes was extracting. So the compression ratio issue, I think, might get resolved because the rumor mill says that now FIA is going to look into a compression ratio in both aspects. Remember the 16:1 ratio, and then it was turning into 18 and whatever. Now compression ratio will be irrespective of the heating condition, and so Mercedes loophole might be which they had exploited might be in danger, and I don't know how it's going to benefit or do not benefit them about it. Japanese Grand Prix is the first one which will tell us, I guess.
Yep. I mean, let's see. This has definitely been the main topic since testing days. Originally, it was Mercedes and Red Bull that were kind of finding a loophole in the rules. Other teams complained. Red Bull backed off, but I know Mercedes, they stuck to it. Now they're changing the rules so that everybody can now have the option to make some modifications like Mercedes. So we'll see how much impact that will have on the cars.
Yeah, I presume Mercedes do have plan B because it did not happen overnight. Because imagine this story had come across almost 2 to 3 months, 2 months back at least, when they were unveiling the cars and all the testing was going on. So I guess they should have plan B for it. But my concern is not with this complaint. There was another complaint which Ferrari did, and this is some kind of breaking news. The complaint was about the Merck's investigation of front wing. So this is very interesting. So because of the rules and regulation change, now we have the active aero for the front wing, right? So the Ferrari has registered a complaint against Mercedes about the front wing closing time. According to FIA, it is supposed to be in a state of 400 milliseconds. So the active aero, the front wing closure, has to be around 400 milliseconds. That's the maximum number of time. But based on the evidence which Ferrari has provided with the previous two races, it looks like the Mercedes closing time of the front wing was around 800 milliseconds. I know they're talking about it being in phases, in 2 phases and everything, but I feel there is some foul play or some kind of reading between the lines of the guidelines here done very well by Mercedes. And this might bite their, what?
No, I think it's very clear in the rules. They state that between position 1 and position 2, like open and closed, it has to change with a 400 millisecond gap. And when you watch, especially during the Chinese Grand Prix, Mercedes didn't look like they fully closed. That's the thing. They go like from open and then they go to this semi inner state where it's like almost close but not. And that's where you get those 800 milliseconds. And I think Ferrari says, that's kind of going directly against the rules, which clearly state 2 positions, 400 milliseconds, open, close, done. So I don't think it's looking good for Mercedes in terms of justification, because I think the more FIA investigates, this kind of reminds me 2019, like with the fuel issue and Ferrari. It has to do with how they found the loophole by kind of bypassing the sensors, like the FIA sensors in the car, because like the sensor picks up like it's changing, but it doesn't pick up that it like kind of haphazardly stops in between before closing. And that's why it hasn't been raised yet. And I think with these 20-25 days, for sure, teams have gotten a lot more time to really scrutinize Mercedes, because they're running away with it as is. So they have to find something, and we'll see what the FIA decides.
So this is where the problem which everybody was having with Mercedes is the straight line speeds, which will get affected if this rule change takes place or they're scrutinized. So when this news broke out, I think there is a repercussions for what is going to be a points reduction maybe, because they have won both the races and this has been the determining factor for it. So there is a subject where people are talking about it, that points might be taken away from Mercedes from the last 2 races.
I don't think they will go as harsh as that. For me, I'm just seeing a fine coming for Mercedes, because yeah, it definitely helps, and it gives like extra balance, more speed going into turns and such. But I think even if they didn't do that, they would have still won those races, because it's a pure engine situation where they were just way ahead everybody else. For sure, during those instances, maybe Ferrari would have kept up with them much longer and more competitive. But at the end of the day, I would still say with these first 2 races that Mercedes would still come out on top regardless. So I cannot imagine a point deduction. I think a fine and, harsher regulations on this for the next races would probably be the most likely scenario. I'm more curious to see what adjustments the other cars have made, though, rather than this. Like, hopefully, like we talked about last time, they will make the cars a bit better, more efficient and faster, for sure. And then if they do go harsh on Mercedes, hopefully we'll have a bit more of a competitive race than last time.
Talking about changes, yes, Ferrari is coming with a lot of changes for this Grand Prix to their car, and I have high hopes for them that we would see and try to predict in the last sections. Have you seen the different types of liveries which they're coming for Japanese?
I
Godzilla
love
ones and all these things. Oh,
Are they all confirmed yet, or is it just like kind of concepts? Because I saw the Haas
no,
one, like they had the Godzilla design. Oh, it looked so good.
Mercedes also doing something different, and I love that. They have some beautiful front wing design. RB ones have, I've seen at least, I don't know about the main Red Bull team's livery change, but they also are promising something different. But RB ones also looks good. Haas looks good. I'm presuming almost everybody's going to do it.
I mean, it will be a very memorable race if that's the case. We can do a rating after the race. Who had the nicest looking car?
Yeah, nicest looking things all around, but it doesn't look that good for Aston Martin and Audi. Things change overnight at their place, where Jonathan Whitley did something incredible of leaving team principal from one team and jumping to another ship. This news was taking everybody on storms when nobody was racing. This was doing the media rounds a lot. And Jonathan Whitley, what have you done, dude? Adrian Newey steps down as a principal for Aston Martin, and I thought the next successor will take over it, but no. We had something scandalous to happen where Jonathan Whitley, who was the principal from Audi, jumped into it, left the team, and now is the team principal of Aston Martin.
I could imagine it's purely based on money. I think Lawrence Stroll gave him just a call, said, "Listen, if you jump here, we'll take care of you. Let's restart this project. Let's try to fix this car." Adrian Newey clearly was not comfortable being the team principal, and it was not looking good. His relationship with Honda, how the troubles with the engine and battery and everything has gone. And I mean, it's been a shambolic start to say the least. But I was surprised that they didn't attempt for Christian Horner. Because I saw there was rumors initially they were going to make Adrian Newey step down and maybe flirt with Horner, but when it came out that they went for Jonathan Wheatley and he just left Audi, you know, in a snap, that kind of took me off guard. So for Audi, is it now just Mattia Benotto that's
Yeah, is looking.
singular
Yeah,
team principal? Yeah. Okay. We'll
yeah,
see.
Mattia. I think there was some power problems also there, where both of them being in charge in a pseudo positions, which resulted him vacating that place. And that may be one of the reasons. And yeah, obviously it would be money too.
Yeah, it could have been like too many chefs in the kitchen for Audi.
Mm.
So we'll
But
see. We'll
they are
see
looking
if
way better
this.
than Aston Martin.
Yeah. Oh, Aston Martin. No, I mean they're so far back. So, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, so talking about remaining far back in situations, in start procedures, everybody is trying to get into the mix of learning how to get this thing done. Ferrari completely found something incredible at the start of the race lines. Mercedes get there eventually. McLaren's also are saying, okay, it's kind of fun. We are trying to figuring out, and Oscar is just not starting. And these things are happening around where Max is just stuck in his first gear and not moving off the line. So poor chap has been complaining like a small kid for I don't know how long, and he's winning elsewhere, getting disqualified from there, and still complaining about F1. So right now, if this is what he's going to keep on doing, it's going to dim his, we say, his beautiful career which he has had so far. I get everything what he's saying. Fundamentally flawed. Terrible path for the future. Anti-racing, Mario Kart shit, Formula E on steroids. It is not good for integrity of sports. These are all the jabs which he has taken towards FIA. I accept everything what he's saying, but there's a limit of talking about it, and he's just going on and on and on. It kind of sounds very bad.
Yeah. Max Verstappen for me is clocked out. I think mentally he's just done with this season already. I think it's pretty obvious, even though the car is not there and, the battery stuff and it's like Formula E, GT3 cars, et cetera, et cetera. You just don't see the same Max anymore. Like you don't see the aggressiveness. He's just coasting in midfield, not even attempting to overtake. Like for me, the biggest indication was when he was behind Behrman in the Haas, and there was nothing. It was just nothing. And then he still comes out, complaining, which, like like we say, are all valid comments, and everybody watching is very frustrated with the situation that we have with the 50-50, engine battery situation. This is just about battery management. It's fake racing, and so on and so forth. But like at some point, you also have to put something on the table and just say, hey, I'm not doing good. Sure, the cars aren't doing great, but if there's people like Behrman and Gasly still doing decent for Alpine and Haas, you're a 4-time champion. You're ruthless. Figure it out. Simple.
It's sad to see him. It was similar to seeing Lewis Hamilton last year not winning so much, and you have to fight through it. I see if he's clocked out of F1 because of this reason and he sees no way that this is going to get solved, then I think he should just quit. Even though he's one of my favorites, like I would not like to see him doing this rather than, fighting for it. He was my favorite way before he was winning too. He was my favorite in 2019 when I used to hear about this young lion roaring from midfield or from 19th in Mexican Grand Prix or just in wet races, and just making some crazy moves over Rosberg's or Vettel's and carefree attitude. That got me back to Formula One after Mercedes dominance everywhere. So if in this situation he just keeps on whining about it, it looks like exactly what you're saying. He is clocked out. The lion is dead in him. Then I guess he should not pursue it anymore. I'm sad about it. I'm really sad. I know that he doesn't have a chance until Red Bull makes something out of it. But I would at least had some kind of fun if he was making some crazy overtakes here and there, which I can't see him doing.
No, but like first race, he went from P20 to like P6 in the same car. Like he can do it, but like the stark difference between that and the sprint, both in and the Chinese Grand Prix, just was such a different attitude. And like we've criticized George Russell from always whining and kind of just going on and on and on. It's exhausting. So we got to hold him to the same standard just as everybody else. Simple.
I don't know, but we do have hopes for Japanese Grand Prix, where if I look into last year's race winners, it was Max who dominated the race, with kept the very good car of Norris and Piastri behind him. Fourth was Leclerc and Russell at fifth. These were the top five finishes on last year's Grand Prix. It has always been a hunting ground for Max. So Max, please wake up, dude. Come back. I think just have a nice good sleep or maybe some butter chicken from my side and excited for it and come back to your senses, man. You are a lion. Let's roar again together. So let's dive into the next race, which is this weekend. That is Japanese Grand Prix 2026. And time for some kind of juicy predictions, guys. I'm leading the scorecards by 1-0 to Alex. If anybody is keeping a track, at least I am. So the prediction counter says 1 to Nick and 0 to Alex. We still have this fight going on, Alex. I hope you have not forgotten about it.
No, it's still in there in the back of my mind.
So good. So let's go to the first section of prediction, that is top qualifiers. So my top qualifiers for this Japanese Grand Prix would be, I would say, at 3, Lewis Hamilton. At 2, George Russell. At 1, Charles Leclerc. What about you?
I was going to go Leclerc, Kimi, and Russell as my, like we were both putting money on Charles to do something, pull a rabbit out of his hat. But since you already went with it, I will go Lewis 1, Kimi 2nd, Russell 3rd.
Okay.
Too big of a gap.
Let's go to the next section of predictions for Japanese Grand Prix. Race dominators. How about you start this?
Okay. So Lewis will start on pole, and I do think he will fight it till like the last 5 to 10 laps, given the FIA gonna have a little bit of impact on the Mercedes front wing. But I do think Kimi will edge it. And so I'll say Kimi 1, Lewis 2nd, Charles 3rd.
No, Russell.
He will be 4th. Don't worry.
Number 3 is going to be Kimi Antonelli. Number 2 is going to be Charles Leclerc. And number 1 is going to be George Russell.
Yeah. All right.
This kind of contradicts everything what I would just be saying about, the front wing time closure and everything. But yeah, George Russell is going to win.
Like we don't know how much of an impact it will be. As of now, we have to go with Mercedes still. Like there's no other evidence to indicate. Hopefully we are wrong. Hopefully Ferrari might steal the win in this one and make it more competitive for the rest of the season. But as of now, like we have to go with what we think. Now, I'll ask you this one for the next one. Latifi moment.
Mine Latifi moment is going to be Max Verstappen.
No. After that, words of encouragement for him.
Yeah, I did it. I did that part very well. And now I'm doing my prediction. You know what? I have to beat you two, right? In this competition. Yeah. There would be some problem with Max Verstappen's car, which will result in some kind of chaos, which will trigger some kind of safety cars or maybe an incident and crash with somebody.
All right.
Your turn.
I will not be so far off from you. I will go to the other Red Bull Racing Team, and Liam Lawson. I am predicting him and Hulkenberg to have a massive collision caused by Lawson, but I think that's going to be the Latifi moment. I'm hoping.
So you're
I
putting
need some
like
points.
now.
I need some points on this.
So you're putting your eggs in multiple baskets, and now with two people, naming two people over there.
No. I'll clarify. It's going to be Liam Lawson. But I just have a
Okay.
feeling it's going to be like Bortoleto or Hulkenberg he's going to crash into or affect.
Okay. So it's going to be a crash
It's going to
by
be Lawson.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope
Let's see.
the
Let's see.
drivers don't take it personally. Like, this is just like fortune telling and just trying to guess the best we can. We still have one huge question unanswered, if I may add.
What is that?
Will Oscar Piastri actually start this race?
I need to put some money on this now. Should I put some Indian rupee or some dollars on this?
Nah, we should check the odds.
Okay, so the next segment brought to you by Alex and Nick on this is, will Oscar Piastri start or end the race if he does?
If he does and he actually finish a race, we will, at the start of our next podcast, give him a round of applause. How about that?
I think it would not be that bad. I think he's just been having some bad luck, and I think McLaren by now should figure it out. And yeah, there was one more thing I just wanted to talk about. I did not make a list on it, but just quickly want to brush about it. And that kind of makes the significance of last year's championship. You know, last year's champion was Lando Norris, right? And he dominated the season, to be really fair. His car was the fastest, even though at the end Max caught up and Oscar was in competition for a very long at the start. But at the end,
Correct.
Once he got in grip with the car and how he wanted to drive, got his head balance, he was unstoppable. How much ever Max tried, he just could do it on specific circuits. But he did not even start last race, and no media captured this. That was the saddest part about it. He is your reigning champion, the car which has number one fixed on the car.
Yeah.
And this person was not even in one of the major headlines ever. So it kind of shows what we were really saying about it last year. It was the car who won the race, the car who won the championship, and not the driver around that. And I feel a little sad about it because the respect which it required for last year's championship winner, he did not get that last year. Because see, imagine if Lewis was the world champion and last year's world champion, and he goes into a race and did not start, it would be the main headline everywhere.
Correct.
Same applies for Max. It was really surprising for me that not even the British media captured this.
No, Lando Norris, let's just say how it is. He's a media darling. And, when things weren't going well, he wasn't getting pelters, but when things were going well, he was getting all the applause. Like, let's be honest. Now, congratulations. You have actually won your first world championship title. It's an incredible achievement. And now you're among one of the top racers.
Yeah, so on that note, I hope that Japanese Grand Prix is a banger and we have incredible fun. I know that there will be a lot of overtakes. Call it fake or whatnot, but there will be a lot of overtakes. And so I hope that some of the cars have brought some upgrades, which will change my prediction of George Russell winning. But yeah, that's it, guys. This is Shift Break and hope everybody's doing fine. This is Alex and Nick signing off.